Hey guys, welcome back to another video on TJ's Tech, and in today's video we're going to be trying to configure another 10,000 rand PC. There's an update to my previous build, which was last year around November, so it's very much outdated. And I actually found a pre-built PC here on Facebook Market costing about 8,000. It's got a 10100F, an RX 6600, 16 gigabytes of RAM, an SSD, two SSDs actually, and a 500 watt power supply. It's also got a AIO cooler, which is pretty cool. So we're going to be trying to compete with this and seeing if our PC can match up to the specs that this PC has. But without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with our CPU here, we have an AMD Ryzen 5 5500, very decent CPU. I'm currently using this CPU in my PC. If you guys checked out my last build, I had a Ryzen 5 5500 inside it. Can't complain, and it comes with the stealth cooler as well, so we don't have to get a CPU cooler. I would have liked to, because that other Facebook Market PC we just saw also has a AIO cooler, but at least this one has free delivery, and it costs 2,200. So currently we're at 2,200. Next up, the motherboard, of course, and here I chose the Asus Prime A320 motherboard. Decent motherboard. It's AM4, of course, so our Ryzen 5 5500 is going to be supported out of the box. Not going to be a problem here. It's got two DIMM slots, but you know, very low budget, so we can't really complain about that one. It's got one SSD PCIe slot and obviously a PCIe slot for the graphics card as well, so we're good. And the input is pretty decent. Cannot complain about this one at all. And I think it's the only motherboard I could find that was this cheap, so pretty much the only choice that we have. And I don't think I emphasized this enough in my videos, but when you're buying a motherboard without Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, you got to make sure that you also buy a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth adapter as well, so that you can have wireless connectivity. Unless you're going to be using a wired connection for both your accessories and your internet, then you're fine. But I just thought I should put that out there. I'll leave a link to some in the description if you want to go purchase some for yourself for your PC. Next up, we're going for the RAM, and you already know I'm going for the G.Skill Ripjaws RAM. Two 8GB sticks here at 3200 megahertz, which is sweet spot, and it costs $999. I think the price increased from the last time I checked here, but it's still pretty affordable, so that's okay. The alternative here would have been to go for this single 16GB stick, which is a little bit cheaper, about 170 bucks cheaper. So if you want to save yourself some money, you can do that, but I prefer to go for dual channel memory because it performs better, even if single channel memory has more capacity. So all up to you if you really want to save that money, but I'm just gonna go for this two 8GB sticks here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. By the way, this is of course DDR4, since we're still on the DDR4 platform. I'm just waiting for the day that DDR5 becomes a little bit more accessible, because the CPUs are a little bit on the expensive sides, as well as the motherboards too. So for now, we're going to be sticking to DDR4 because it's really great for budget builds. Next up is the storage, and I went for this Clev Crash C700 RGB SSD with 480 gigabytes capacity. It's got read speeds of 1500 megabytes per second and a write speed of 1300 megabytes per second, which isn't the fastest, but it's reasonably fast for a standard PC. It also has a RGB heatsink, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't say I've used these before, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna look good in any build. When you're going for SSD storage, make sure you get anything above 256 gigabytes, because 256 is way too low, so anything above 400 gigabytes is okay. Next up, we're going to be going for the case, and the case that I went for here is the Gamdius Talos E3. You guys might recognize this case from a previous build that I did back in, like, I think it was April. It's a very nice case. It comes with 3 fans pre-installed, so you don't have to worry about fans, and it's very nice to build in. It's super compact as well, so that's also good for a budget build. And also, if you don't want a case that's too big, it's also great. It also fits a full ATX motherboard, so if you ever want to upgrade in the future, you can still keep the same case and put in a much bigger motherboard. Our motherboard is a micro ATX, so it's obviously going to fit in there. The fans are also RGB, so RGB is always a good thing. But I think the feature that I like the most about this build is that it's easy to build in. The internal design is a little bit dated, but it's very easy to build in, and cable management is okay. You can also control the RGB on the fans with the motherboard if you have the right RGB header in your PC. It's a really good case. Next up is the power supply, and I know we haven't done the graphics card yet, but in a PC of this budget, you're probably not going to get a graphics card that's going to consume that much power, so we don't have to worry about that. Here we have the Deepcool PF500. It's a 500 watt power supply. It's 80+ certified, and it looks nice. It's got a nice design. It was either this or a Gamdius power supply, and I'm not really the biggest fan of Gamdius power supplies. They usually have the ketchup and mustard cables, which I'm not a big fan of, and they also don't have great reviews on the internet. internet. But I'm personally using a GAMDS power supply in my PC and it hasn't exploded yet, so that's a bonus. But this power supply is going to get the job done. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but this is the only power supply I could find at this budget that has, you know, good quality. And finally, our graphics card. I went secondhand here and went for this RX 6600. It's an 8GB GDDR6 graphics card. It's being sold here for $3,600, which is a great price, I think. If you guys have been following me long enough, you probably know that this was my very first graphics card that I used in my very first build. And I can definitely vouch for this graphics card. It's really good. It performs really well, especially at the budget category. So I can't recommend this one enough. And especially at this budget, I think it's a definite steal. We were definitely not going to be able to get anything that performs anywhere close to this in the new market. But if you don't mind getting less performance, but, you know, getting something that's brand new, then, you know, it's all you, bro. But I think that's about it. I'm going to sum everything up for you guys and I'll let you know how much it all cost. Unfortunately, we weren't able to beat this pre-built PC. That's fine. At least we were able to match the specs at below our budget. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Always love interacting with you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.